Good sir, your boat has been traveling on waters in which you do not have access to. In the year of our Lord, 1824, it is illegal for you to engage in this trespass. You see, I have been granted a license under an exclusive monopoly of the navigation of boats on these waters by the state of New York. I'm afraid you, sir, and your competing firm, are in violation.
I regret to inform you, but I also have been granted a license for a steamboat service exclusive to these waters between New York and New Jersey. Granted to me by Congress themselves. I'm afraid we have landed on the rocky shores of conflict.
Why hath Congress ordained upon you such a license?
In regards to the regulation of coastal trade. Likewise, sir, why hath the good state of New York granted you such a license?
Don't worry about it. I can assure you, it was legal.
I bid you, sir, that we allow the higher powers to use their jurisdiction over this matter.
So be it. But allow me to say, I do believe I will emerge with the better hand. For you see, since you are in violation of the rights granted to me by the state, I must file a complaint with them and allow them to deal with the matter.
How so? Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution gives Congress the power to regulate interstate commerce. Since my boat deals with transportation on interstate waters, the state of New York should have no authority to forbid me from doing business on them. This goes beyond a state issue.
States often pass laws that deal with interstate commerce. Therefore, the state should have concurring powers with Congress to deal with interstate trade. Besides, I do not believe your business constitutes as commerce, but merely navigation.
I do not intend to let this matter settle lightly, Mr. Ogden. If I must, I will take it to the Supreme Court, granted they hear my plea. I, Thomas Gibbons, lost my case to the New York Court of Chancery and the New York Court of Errors, as Ogden predicted. Sure enough, I presented my case to the Supreme Court and they heard my plea. The Supreme Court ruled in my favor, with Chief Justice John Marshall saying, a congressional power to regulate navigation is as expressly granted as if that term had been added to the word commerce. The court went on to say that Congress should be able to regulate all aspects of interstate commerce the Constitution permitted, as long as the goods were not entirely made, moved and sold within one state. They could even void the state laws that were contrary to this. I can now maneuver my boat with haste upon the waters between New Jersey and New York without criticism.
So, I lost. I knew I'd have it in the bag if it stayed at the state level, but sure enough those tyrannical federalists got their way, again. The major question here was what exactly commerce was and what could it include. What's so important about this case? Well, it defined commerce and gave Congress a broader definition and aspect to regulate. There's an intense battle brewing between strict constructionists and activists over the parameters of the federal government's authority regarding such matters. It has become one of the most controversial clauses, and my case was the first to try to define it. The decision held strong until U.S. versus E.C. Knightco in 1895, which began a 40-year stretch of the court limiting the government's ability to regulate commerce. However, in the 1930s, the Supreme Court changed and allowed the government to regulate activity entirely in one state. Unfortunately for me, my case came about 40 years too early. Done.
Mr. Ogden, the National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for the following counties: Warren, Sussex, Morris, and Union. A tornado warning has been issued for Bergen County, with winds out of the south-southwest at 40 to 45 miles per hour. Take shelter immediately.